The 2026 running back class is widely discussed as one of the weakest at the position in a number of years, and truthfully, there's only one guy worth taking in the top 2 rounds in my opinion, and that is Jeremiah Love. With that said, I still think there is some interesting talent, and Mike Washington Jr. is a player that has been generating a lot of buzz after a fantastic combine, and in a year where he's coming off solid production and in a weaker running back class, how high could we see Washington taken in the 2026 NFL Draft? That is what we will be discussing in today's video. But hey guys, if you guys are new to the channel, consider hitting that like and subscribe button. It helps me out a ton and it lets me know that you guys are enjoying the videos. Be sure to comment down below which prospects you guys would like to see in a future episode, and without further ado, let's get into it. Mike Washington has had a very interesting journey throughout his college football tenure, and he was a 2-star recruit who started his college career at Buffalo. He spent 3 years with the Bulls before transferring to New Mexico State and was really good in 2024, where he ran for 697 yards and 8 touchdowns on 154 carries. He transferred to Arkansas in 2025 to play against SEC competition, and Washington had a massive breakout season, where he ran for 1,066 yards and 8 touchdowns on 167 attempts. After a strong combine and Senior Bowl, Washington is a player who some people think can be RB2 in this draft class, and he certainly has some of the best traits of any running back in the draft. I think the first thing that sticks out when watching Mike Washington is his overall frame and size. He's 6'1", he's 223 pounds, and is a player with incredibly long arms for the position as well, and as a result, Washington is able to use his frame to his advantage and plays an aggressive and physical rushing style that's pretty awesome to see. He loves to put his pads down, ram through defenders, and I think he's got fantastic contact balance to go along with it. Washington averaged 3.86 yards after contact per attempt in 2025, and I think that will translate well for him to the NFL level. I also think that burst and explosiveness are very apparent when you watch Washington on tape. He ran a 4.33 at the NFL Draft Combine, and while I think he has very good speed, I think people are going to overrate it based off the 40 time because I don't see that type of speed. However, I do see a pretty explosive athlete, and his 1.51 10-yard split is something that I see on tape. I think he is an incredibly explosive athlete, and when he sees a gap open up, he has the quickness to hit the hole and absolutely fly. I think he's got really solid burst that is going to profile well for him to the NFL. I think the area that I was taken aback by the most with Mike Washington is his rushing style, as I really worry about how it's going to affect him at the NFL level. Washington runs a very upright rushing style, and while that's fine, I think it leads to some of his biggest and most glaring issues on tape. At the line of scrimmage, I think the mechanics are very clean, and I thought that Washington showed that explosiveness. He's shifty in the backfield, he was able to make the first guy miss, and I think he's really light on his feet, hits cutback lanes well. But in the open field, for whatever reason, Washington was incredibly stiff. I didn't see the same player who was able to juke guys out. I saw a guy whose hips were tight and he struggled to change directions at his top speed and struggled to tempo his speeds good enough for an NFL runner. This isn't the biggest issue for him, as there are a lot of guys that struggle to make guys miss 10 yards down the field, and he's able to get past the line of scrimmage, which does matter. But I do think it could limit his ceiling as an NFL runner, and it was just very glaring and just a completely different player than what you see in the first 5 yards. And a similar note, I think the vision is all over the place with Mike Washington. He doesn't routinely see lanes open up the way I would like him to, and there are too many instances of him trying to bounce runs to the outside when he's got a perfectly blocked lane right in front of him. I'd like to see Washington be better at running between the tackles, and I think his vision has some room to improve. As a receiving back, I think Washington has pretty natural hands and transitioned well to a runner with the football in his hands. I do think that his overall route running is limited. He didn't have the greatest route tree, but what I do worry about him on passing downs is the blocking. while he has the size that you want to see, I thought Washington was truly one of the worst blocking backs in the draft class because he didn't anchor well whatsoever, and there are too many instances of Washington just being ran through and ending up on the ground, and I want to see more consistency from him in the blocking department. Lastly, fumbles have been a pretty glaring issue for Mike Washington in his college career, and he needs to do a better job of taking care of the football if he wants consistent carries. He has 7 fumbles over the last 2 years, and that's just not going to fly in the NFL, and he has to be better at taking care of the ball. Mike Washington is a player who I do really like in this running back class. I just have a lot of questions when it comes down to consistency. I love the size. I think he's got power. I think he's got burst. The vision is solid. I think I probably was too hard on it. I do think he's got good vision. I don't think it's elite, but the contact balance is good. But there are so many areas I think he needs to improve upon if he's going to be a 3-down contributor. With that said, I think the traits that he has are better than just about any running back in the class. The top speed is great, and he is my number 2 running back in the draft class, and I have a top 75 grade on him as a player. In terms of a scheme fit, I think Washington can run in virtually any scheme. He ran pretty well behind a gap blocking scheme in 2025. However, given that he has the tendency to bounce runs outside, I think he may fit well in a zone scheme as well. To me, he is a guy that profiles best as a high-end number 2 back in his career, and I don't know if I'd ever feel totally comfortable with Mike Washington being my bell cow number 1 back. Coming up with a comparison for Mike Washington was pretty difficult, but I'm going to piggyback off of the NFL Network comparison that they have and some of the other ones that I've seen on Bleacher Report, and that is former Seattle Seahawks running back Chris Carson. While Mike Washington has better long speed, both of them are really big, powerful runners who had a pretty upright rushing style and as a result struggled to consistently change direction and make guys miss in the open field. Carson had a pretty solid career for Seattle as a running back too, and was a decent player until injuries caught up with him, but I think Mike Washington is a similar player with similar traits, size, and athleticism. Mike Washington is a monstrous runner. He's powerful, he's explosive, and has really good long speed for the position. He's a player that has a lot of really fun upside. Consistency is going to be key with Washington, but ultimately, I believe that Mike Washington will be a top 100 pick in the 2026 NFL Draft.